to what promises to be yet another fun foray into broadcast excellence, or at the very least, and far more likely, broadcast competence here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's the Thursday edition, and if you'd like to join us, the adventknows.com talk and text line is open, 414-799-1130. Reach us toll-free, 1-800-838-9476. Email the program, dod@iheartmedia.com. At Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where, unlike Don Lemon, apparently, you can watch the show streaming live. Big controversy. Elon Musk apparently canceled the Don Lemon interview show after his very first interview, which happened to be of Elon Musk. Supposedly, it was because Musk didn't take too kindly to Lemon pressing him about his alleged drug use. So the Don Lemon show, like Tucker Carlson, was supposed to be on X. It, however, is not. Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Also, where you can watch the show streaming live via our DanoCam, and of course, always our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. I want to start with something that you wouldn't think would be a lead story here on this program, but it's fascinating. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, I am very interested in space technology, space exploration, and that sort of thing. And a loyal listener, Red, found this story that he thought would be just right up my alley, and he was right. If people are going to live on the moon for long periods, they will need electrical power and oxygen. NASA is going to pay Jeff Bezos' company, Blue Origin, $35 million to find a way to provide both in a project known as Blue Alchemist. The idea is to set up an autonomous production facility on the moon to make huge quantities of solar cells. These would provide electrical power for anything future moon colonists need. The raw material will be lunar moon dirt, essentially. Oxygen is a byproduct of the operation. Blue Origin must provide an autonomous demonstration apparatus by 2026 using simulated lunar soil. That's kind of amazing, isn't it? That is from the March 2024 edition of the Mensa Bulletin magazine. And we do thank loyal listener Red for showing us this. It's fascinating. Wow. They're going to find a way to provide electrical power and oxygen on the moon. It's fascinating. And they're going to be able to do it all for $35 million. It's just amazing what technology can do. Now, why do you suppose I bring this story up first out of all of the stories that I could have led this program with? Why this? That NASA is paying Blue Origin to figure out a way to get oxygen and electricity on the moon for $35 million. Because it's apparently costing the federal government $36 million to put bike lanes on a 2.5-mile stretch of 6th Street in Milwaukee. President Biden was in town yesterday. In fact, he slept overnight at the Pfister Hotel, and he is still here. We don't know if he's grabbing a continental breakfast before he goes, but be aware, downtown traffic is probably going to be a mess as the presidential motorcade at some point takes off for Air Force One, and he goes back to Washington, D.C., or it is Thursday, so do we think he's going straight to Delaware? Oh, he's going to Michigan after this for another campaign stop. Thank you very much, producer Dave. President Biden was touting as part of a $3.3 billion infrastructure program, a grant of $36 million to the city of Milwaukee. $36 million for a complete street initiative project on 6th Street to put in bike lanes and to make the section of the street more pedestrian friendly for $36 million. Blue Origin can come up with a prototype to autonomously create electricity, and as a byproduct of that creation, oxygen on the freaking moon for $1 million less than it's going to cost the federal government to put bike lanes and make pedestrians safer on 6th Street in Milwaukee. Because, of course, we don't want those racist roads like 6th Street to claim another victim. Yes, President Biden said the roads in Milwaukee, especially the highway system that cuts straight through the heart of downtown, is racist.
There are also cities all across America where highways used to be, and they along with redlining, they disconnected entire communities from opportunities, sometimes in an effort to reinforce segregation. That's what happened here in Milwaukee.
No, actually, it didn't. Segregation was enforced, if it was, by the Democrat and socialist mayors and Democrat and socialist city councils that have run this city continuously for more than 100 years. 1908 was the last time a Republican mayor left office in the city of Milwaukee. The interstate highway system allowed people to more easily access other parts of the country. It did not make the city more segregated. It did not cut off people from civilization. People left the city of Milwaukee for the reason that they're still leaving the city of Milwaukee. For better jobs, for better schools, and for communities that don't tolerate massive amounts of crime. Biden was, well, pretty vintage Biden yesterday. Here was his opening.
The communities everywhere, and at this Boys and Girls Club. By the way, I've been a gigantic supporter of Boys and Girls, just the biggest in the country. But when I was a senator, I provided a lot of money during the crime sprees were going on for Boys and Girls Clubs.
Yeah, that was how he opened the speech at the Boys and Girls Club of Milwaukee. He's fine. Everything's fine. 4 more years. Biden also talked about his accomplishments, especially on the economy. Bidenomics, he said, is working so much so that America now has one of the lowest inflation rates of any country in America. No, really, he said that.
Wages are rising faster than prices, and now we have among the lowest inflation rates of any country in America, and we're still fighting to lower it even further.
Wages, incidentally, are not rising, keeping pace with inflation. Food costs are up, 30%? You get a 30% wage increase over the last 3 years? Because I didn't. Well, I mean, actually, I kind of did, but I had to start doing a second radio show a day for 4 months out of the year. Electricity costs up exponentially. Housing costs, insurance costs, new and used car costs, food prices have exploded. You'll notice that the talking point is now we have one of the lowest inflation rates of any country in America. Not we have the lowest inflation rate, because they tried saying that one, and it was thoroughly debunked. Biden also repeated his whopper of a lie that he marched during the civil rights movement.
If I can digress for 1 second. Look, I've been very involved for a while. I know I look like I just arrived, but all kidding aside, I didn't realize, even though I was deeply involved initially in the civil rights movement that got me involved to run for the first place.
Deeply involved in the civil rights movement. Way back in 1987, when Biden was running for the 1988 Democratic presidential nomination, you might remember he was embroiled in a massive plagiarism and dishonesty scandal. And he was forced to admit, no, despite what he had been saying on the stump, he did not march for civil rights. He was not deeply involved in the movement.
I was involved, but I was not out marching. I was not down in Selma. I was not anywhere else. I was a suburbanite kid who got a dose of exposure to what was happening to black Americans when I'm in my own city.
Ah, okay. By the way, the involvement he had in the civil rights movement, I sort of cut that part out for time for that soundbite. His civil rights movement was he was the only white lifeguard at a predominantly black swimming pool. And we also know, all of us know the bad dude who showed up one day at that swimming pool. That's right. Corn Pop was a bad dude. He was sharpening his razor blade in the parking lot, just waiting for Lifeguard Joe to come out. You know, the most amazing thing about that story is there was a black dude who is listed in an obituary, and I think it was Wilmington, Delaware, in the 1990s, early 2000s, something like that, who went by the nickname of Corn Pop. Most amazing part of Biden's Corn Pop story is that it at least had the veneer of truth. It at least was plausible. Now, was Corn Pop and his fellow gangsters really waiting for Biden with sharpened razor blades or rusted up razor blades? They were going to slice him up because he said, what did he say? He called Corn Pop some female swimmer because Corn Pop was like messing around on the diving board. And Biden comes out and he says, you know, Corn Pop, I'm not, Mr. Pop, I'm not going to apologize for reprimanding you, but I'm going to apologize for calling you whatever the female swimmer's name was. I was out of line. Corn Pop said, okay. And at that moment, racial healing began in segregated Wilmington. Biden, of course, has been, over the past couple of days, pushing this increasingly desperate idea that all increasingly desperate Democrats tend to push, that if his opponent wins, they're going to remember the pushing granny off the cliff ad. Yeah, there were a bunch. Dave wants to know which one. Paul Ryan, I think, was the most famous recipient of the "this guy is going to push granny off the cliff" treatment. Every single time Democrats think they're in trouble, they go back to the tried and true trope of terrifying seniors that Republicans are going to come and take away their Medicare and Social Security.
Many of my Republican friends want to put Social Security and Medicare back on the chopping block again.
By the way, let it not be overlooked that Biden really did say, put Medicare and Social Security on the chopping block. Continue, Mr. President.
If anyone tries to...
you want to hear it again? You want to hear it again? The chopping block?
Many of my Republican friends want to put Social Security and Medicare back on the chopping block.
Okay, that was absolutely the wrong time for me to take a sip of coffee, because that coffee was halfway through my nose. You could definitely see that on the Dano cam. Yeah, he's fine. Like I said, 4 more years. Let's go, man. God save the Queen, man.
Again. If anyone tries to cut Social Security, Medicare, or raise the retirement age again, I will stop them. Working people built this country. They pay more into Social Security than millionaires and billionaires do. It's not fair. Folks, we have 2 ways to go at Social Security and Medicare. Republicans will cut Social Security and Medicare to give us more tax cuts for the wealthy. Even this morning, Donald Trump said cuts to Social Security and Medicare are on the table again.
Really? Because back in 1995, a certain senator named Joe Biden was bragging about the fact that 4 times he had tried to freeze Medicare and Medicaid increases as part of broader budget freezes. Now, he said that this was taken out of context. He denied ever saying this when he was running for president in 2020. Bernie Sanders just absolutely savaged Biden on the campaign trail, saying, look, he bragged about wanting to freeze and even cut Social Security and Medicare. For his entire 40-year career in the Senate, he was trying to do just that. So Biden goes on a podcast in January of 2020 and says, no, I never said that.
Do you think, though, that it's fair for voters to question your commitment to Social Security when in the past you proposed a freeze to it?
No, I didn't propose a freeze. Look, we're talking about at the time. You mean when we went together and decided?
Yeah, you talked about it in the context of balancing the budget.
No,
so is that something that voters should be?
It was in the context of we saved Social Security during the Reagan administration was about to go under, and everyone from Teddy Kennedy on voted for that.
He says he never said it. Let's go to the videotape, shall we?
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing in the government. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Well, after a full week back in January of 2020 of Biden being reminded that, yes, you did brag about trying to freeze and even cut Social Security and Medicare, not once, not twice, but a third time and even a fourth time, he admitted it, begrudgingly, of course, but said, yeah, well, come on, that was 20 years ago, man.
This fight with Bernie Sanders over Social Security, you've said that he, quote, doctored video of you from the Senate back in the day talking about Social Security, but you did argue that cost of living adjustments as part of a general spending freeze were necessary to cut federal spending and reduce the deficit. That aside,
that was 20 years ago.
Even if Sanders is playing a little rough here and your position has changed, what about those Democratic voters who say
it hadn't changed?
Oh, it hasn't changed. Well, what about back in 2005 when Biden was saying that cuts, quote, must be discussed?
Raising the cap, raising the retirement age for people who are now 30 years old, raising the tax on Social Security, cutting benefits. They're all things that have to be discussed, quite frankly.
Okay. Now, however, it's Donald Trump who wants to cut entitlements. So let's see. We had Biden essentially lying about his own record in Milwaukee. We had him lying about marching in the civil rights. We had an incoherent opening. We had him say that the highway system is racist. And we said that he brought inflation levels down to one of the lowest levels of any country in America. All in all, I'd say a pretty successful trip. Thanks for coming, Mr. President. Dan O'Donnell Show coming right back.
Every day, WISN listeners show impeccable taste and solid smarts. Here's more evidence. WISN listeners flock to the place where the bargains are beautiful and the deals are downright delicious. Where?
BidOnMilwaukee.com.
Bidders can make their move to snare vacation deals, home improvement packages, furnaces, and central air units, Canadian fishing adventures, golf outings, and much more, with discounts as deep as 55% off retail.
BidOnMilwaukee.com.
Use your smarts and get the deal of a lifetime. The Bid on Milwaukee online auction starts Wednesday, March 20th.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. I frequently speak with people who are unhappy with their landscaping and they're unsure how to turn things around. Well, here are 4 tasks that will make a remarkable improvement to dull landscaping. Number 1, thick, lush green grass. We need food and water to be healthy. Our lawn care programs and irrigation systems provide your grass with everything it needs to thrive. Number 2, pruning. Regular, technically correct pruning keeps plants strong and vibrant. Number 3, plant bed edging and a fresh layer of bark mulch. There's nothing better than the look of crisp bed edges and fresh mulch. Number 4, landscape lighting. You finally have your landscaping looking its best. A landscape lighting system lets your landscaping come alive after dark. So there you are, 4 landscaping tips that amplify the beauty of your home. Please call Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Sendix is offering seafood prices that haven't been seen in years. Don't miss deals like Sendix Premium Wild-Caught Halibut Fillets for just $9.99 a pound. 4-ounce steaks of Sendix Wild-Caught Premium Ahi Tuna are just $5.99 each. And backed by popular demand, Jumbo Canadian Walleye Fillets are just $7.99 a pound. And treat yourself to Sendix Large Golden King Crab Legs for just $17.99 a pound. Get your order in on these and other amazing seafood deals now at Sendix.com. Sendix, your trusted local grocer.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. And feel the difference of Relief Factor.
Hey, listen, no, he won't. That's how she wrote a beat never for the daylight shines. Just a thought and bread on a million souls. My tip is full from darling. He's a legend in the bar with the free scar for 1,000 bigger men. Now he fights and loses, got all the bruises from someone please step in. But the Irish foes got a big cut against coming back into the ring. In the low-down circles where he holds his court, this man he once was dead.
The Dropkick Murphys in the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music rotation for St. Patrick's Day. I did forget yesterday to share with you that Spotify playlist we made of pretty much all of the songs that we use. Some come from our Universal Production Music bumper music library. So I'm not exactly sure where those songs come from. We just get them from a production library. I'm not sure if they're even available on Spotify. Some are, some aren't. Some are distributed all over the place. Some are specifically made for just production music. But we've got a lot of Dropkick Murphys. We've got a lot of Flogging Molly, the Tossers, the Paddy Rats, a whole lot of Irish punk for your St. Patrick's Day. I will, during the next commercial break, I promise. Today is an exceptionally busy day. We're filming some videos for the McIver Institute. I've, of course, got to prepare for the Mark Belling late afternoon show later today. And let's see, what else do I have to do? I think I might be doing a TV taping too. I'm not exactly sure. I've got so many things going on. I'm not quite sure. I am also continuing to work a story about a recent meeting and memo at a local TV station in which reporters and anchors and producers were, in as many words, told to, quote, humanize criminals. Try to stop reporting on crime stories because that has a tendency to give the wrong impression about crime and reflects implicit biases. I have got a copy of the memo. I have got a pretty good understanding of what went on in that meeting and how exactly it is going to shape coverage of one of the biggest issues facing the city of Milwaukee, and that's crime. Apparently, reporters were told to, quote, look for systemic causes of each incident. Are there solutions? Look deeper into the community. Are there community groups working to combat this issue? Is there someone in the neighborhood who can provide insight instead of an official? We will go through that entire memo, which apparently comes from the crime coverage summits in both Philadelphia and New Orleans. I'm just putting the finishing touches on that. We will have that story for you coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. Speaking of bad, and I mean real bad news coverage, a hit piece from CNN on, of all people, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, it got out, was apparently the leading candidate to be Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presidential running mate, Vice President AR-12, VP A-Raj. So this raises an interesting question. At some point, major presidential candidates all get Secret Service protection. Let's say Rodgers, it's 3rd and 10, he drops back to pass, he faces heavy pressure. Does the Secret Service just snipe a couple of defensive ends for the Buffalo Bills? Like, how does this work? They have a duty to protect him. The man destroyed his Achilles tendon on one of the very first plays last season. They got to keep him safe. CNN, though, is so terrified about Aaron Rodgers possibly delivering just enough votes to RFK Jr. that they violated pretty much every standard of journalistic integrity to post an absolute smear that Rodgers would have no way of ever defending himself against. We will get to that story coming up in just a second here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
It's a doozy, all right. Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Picture taking your first steps into your brand new home. What do you see? Whether it's cooking meals in your 5-star kitchen or practicing downward dog in your sunroom, Belinsky Homes can handle it all. At Belinsky Homes, we know each lifestyle calls for unique home essentials. That's why we've been designing distinct and deliberate floor plans for over 60 years. Considering every last inch of space, we build new homes ready to adapt to your life's needs. Visit Belinsky.com today to find your right fit. Belinsky Homes, built for life.
At Affordable Dentures and Implants, our Snap Secure dental implants will let you eat and speak with confidence at a price that's affordable. So if you think you can't afford dental implants, think again. Our practices in Milwaukee, Kenosha, and Menominee Falls are open to serve you. Schedule a free new smile consultation by calling 1-800-DENTURE or visit AffordableDentures.com to find the practice near you. That's 1-800-DENTURE or visit AffordableDentures.com. Schedule your new smile consultation today. Affordable Dentures and Implants. Go ahead and smile.
Go ahead and smile.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Hey guys, welcome to the Home Box Stop. Ready for those new kitchen cabinets and countertops? Okay, well let's get you guys going. Inches, centimeters, inches, right?
Right.
Is this your first time? Oh no, been here for years. Actually, in light bulbs. I'm covering for Karen. She took the week off. One sec. No worries. The computer does all the work.
Customer assistance to light bulbs.
Oh, that's me, VRB.
Yeah,
let's go.
Granite Plus?
Hurry, here she comes.
Hi, I'm Laz with Granite Plus. Countertops and cabinets is what we do. As a meticulously detailed local fabricator, say goodbye to the middleman and upgrade your home with real factory direct savings. Homeowners, flippers, contractors, why would you pay more? Go to GranitePlusUSA.com, that's GranitePlusUSA.com, or visit any of our Milwaukee area showrooms and start saving today.
What's the secret to enhancing your natural beauty? The secret starts with a visit to a Younger You Medical Spa. The wonders of rejuvenation at a Younger You Medical Spa. Preserve your youthful appearance with a Younger You Medical Spa's advanced personalized aesthetic care. Using cutting-edge, non-surgical techniques, their team of specialists will invigorate your skin's healthy glow. A Younger You Med Spa is proud to offer an extensive range of treatments, including cool sculpting, fillers, Botox, hydrofacials, laser hair removal, and much more. By combining expertise peace, exceptional service, and a luxurious environment, a Younger You Medical Spa strives to be the best. At a Younger You Med Spa, you won't just achieve healthier looking skin, you'll rediscover your natural beauty and confidence too. Look younger and more for 2024. See their range of services and schedule your complimentary consultation and facial scan today at ayoungeryou.com. That's ayoungeryou.com. A Younger You Medical Spa. Enrich your life and say hello to the new Younger You. Book your consultation today for a free facial scan.
Federal authorities are spying on conservatives. They were just exposed for pressuring banks to look for transactions with keywords like MAGA, Trump, and Bible. This is not the America I know. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I am deeply concerned about the tyranny I see in Washington. And this is why I'm thankful for physical gold IRAs, because they offer tangible financial security that can't be tracked, stolen, or inflated. To find out more, text the word SECURE to 989898. Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. This is your chance to secure your IRA or 401k against the unpredictable nature of our economy. Text SECURE to the number 989898 now to request your free info kit on gold IRAs. That's SECURE to 989898.
Message and data rates may apply.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group. If you love sports and scandal, then join me, ESPN broadcaster Jay Harris, each week for Playing Dirty Sports Scandals, the newest podcast from executive producer Dan Patrick. From current scandals like MMA champ Cain Velasquez's armed car chase to historic shockers like the biggest Little League cheat, Playing Dirty Sports Scandals doesn't shy away from dark details and always packs a punch. Never miss the dirt, people. Listen to Playing Dirty Sports Scandals on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcast.
We have quite possibly the best example we've ever seen of the mainstream national media literally doing the Democratic Party's bidding. It has to do with a hit piece CNN ran on Aaron Rodgers. TMZ reported exclusively yesterday that the Democratic Party is taking Rodgers' bid for the vice presidency, even though it might not be serious. They're taking it very seriously. Top officials of the Democratic National Committee tell TMZ they're not taking any chances with Rodgers, even though they're expecting his VP candidacy to last as long as his first season with the New York Jets. Basically, sources at the DNC tell us they're not writing off Rodgers or any other celebrity candidate, no matter what they may think of them. Just look what happened with Trump. DNC members acknowledge third-party candidates can easily play spoiler in a close election, so all the more reason to face Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and possibly Rodgers head-on. Moving forward, we're told Democrats will be looking through old Rodgers interviews and dredging up the skeletons in the QB's locker. Essentially, they're welcoming AR to a whole new kind of gridiron, one where Rodgers isn't likely to get an unnecessary roughness call in his favor. So yesterday afternoon, DNC sources say that they're going to play hardball with Rodgers. They're going to do everything they can to dig up dirt on Aaron Rodgers. Later that afternoon, Jake Tapper of CNN tweets out a story about a fellow CNN reporter having a private conversation with Rodgers 11 years ago at the Kentucky Derby, in which Rodgers spouted off some half-cocked conspiracy theories about the Sandy Hook shooting, which had just occurred a couple of months previously.
Back in 2013, when CNN's Pamela Brown was covering the Kentucky Derby, she met Aaron Rodgers. And Brown says in conversations with him, Rodgers attacked the news media, claiming important stories were being covered up. He then brought up the Sandy Hook shooting and said the media was intentionally ignoring that the shooting was, he claimed, an inside job by the government. Now, when Brown asked for evidence, he shared conspiracy theories that had been disproven. Rodgers falsely claimed to Brown that there were men in black in the woods by the school and asked if she thought that was odd.
So let me get this straight. This reporter has no notes from that conversation. There are no other witnesses to that conversation. There was no contemporaneous reporting on that conversation, i.e., that night when reporting on the Kentucky Derby, she goes, "Hey, Aaron Rodgers just told me some crazy stuff about Sandy Hook. It was wild, man." The other source that CNN cited that said, yeah, Aaron Rodgers has said crazy stuff like that to me too, didn't want to be identified because, quote, he or she didn't want to be harassed. What kind of journalistic ethics go on over at CNN? How is this story possibly being reported? Is there any chance that Aaron Rodgers could ever possibly defend himself against that? A couple of months before the 2013 Kentucky Derby, my wife and I went to New York for the 2012 National Edward R. Murrow Awards. I was very honored to win the National Award for Sports Reporting. I did a story on the Brewers honoring the family of a little boy who was killed in a car crash and buried in his Prince Fielder jersey, and I did what I thought was a very heartwarming, touching story about the family throwing out the first pitch and meeting with Prince Fielder and just all of them crying together in memory of this little boy. And it was honored. The Murrow Awards are sort of the Oscars for broadcast journalism. And I went there, and in attendance was one Jake Tapper. I was sitting nowhere near him, never had a chance to talk to him. You know who I was sitting right by? I was at the next table with and actually was joking around with? Nope, Carlos Quintanilla of CNBC. Really, really nice guy. He and I were sort of laughing and joking, kind of half in the bag for the entire ceremony. I just always came away thinking, really nice guy. You know who else was actually, I've got to give credit where credit's due. I won the 2008 National Edward R. Murrow Award for investigative reporting. So I went to the ceremony again, and I met Chuck Todd. And we were standing in line, like all the winners were holding their awards and they were taking, press photos or whatever. And I ended up talking to him for a good 15, 20 minutes. And Tim Russert had just passed away and he was just giving Meet the Press. And we were just kind of talking about that. He was so exceptionally nice. I don't know, my one experience with him. But let's go back to 2012. Let's say I reported to you, ladies and gentlemen, that I had a conversation with Jake Tapper. He and I were at the bar after the Murrows at whatever hotel this was at. It was a hotel conference center. I can't for the life of me remember where it was because, it was 12 years ago. But let's say Jake Tapper and I were doing shots at the bar, playing some bar dice. Pretty sure they don't do that at fancy hotels in New York, but it's their loss. So let's say Jake Tapper and I are drinking, talking, and, he's feeling good. The drinks are flowing. And he uses some pretty racially charged language to talk about some of his colleagues at CNN. Let's say Don Lemon. Let's say he really doesn't like Don Lemon for whatever reason. And, I'm a nice guy. I tend to earn people's trust. He tells me how much he dislikes Don Lemon. Don Lemon is a black man and also a gay man. Let's say I report to you today, 12 years later, that Jake Tapper, in a private conversation with me, called Don Lemon both the N-word and the F-word, a slur for gay people. I didn't tell anybody about this at the time, not even my wife, because I was so shocked. that noted CNN reporter and anchor Jake Tapper is apparently both a racist and a homophobe. And I never said anything in the intervening 12 years, even as Jake Tapper's career took off at CNN. He won all sorts of awards. He was one of the most prominent journalists in America. But I just told you today that Jake Tapper used both the N-word and the F-word. I can tell you exactly where we were. Tapper, it can be confirmed, I believe, was in attendance at the Edward R. Murrow Awards. Would it be ethical for me to report that? Would anyone believe that that actually happened? I mean, you could probably believe that Carlos Quintanilla and I were kind of half-drunkenly joking around during the ceremony, because that's sort of what I do. You'd probably believe that, yeah, you know, I was exchanging pleasantries and ended up having a nice little conversation with Chuck Todd, who turned out to be a really nice guy. Would you really believe me, though, if I was making specific allegations without a single shred of evidence to back them up? That's what CNN is doing right now. But the broader point is the timing of this and the motivation for it. Aaron Rodgers has been a controversial figure for the past several years. He's made a decidedly right turn in his politics. I think he's actually more libertarian, but he came out against COVID lockdowns. He came out against the COVID vaccine pretty strongly. He pretended to get the COVID vaccine. He said, what did he say? I'm inoculated, I'm immunized. When he was asked, did you get the vaccine? Yeah, I'm immunized. Meanwhile, you know, he put some healing crystals in his underwear and called it a day. He showed off his foot to prove that he didn't have COVID toe. He goes on a darkness retreat. He, oh, heaven forfend, talked about Jimmy Kimmel and the Epstein client list on the Pat McAfee show. Let's use the Pat McAfee show example. He talks about a conspiracy theory that Jimmy Kimmel was on the client list. It actually wasn't. He was referencing Kimmel making fun of Aaron Rodgers for talking about the Epstein client list. But why didn't this CNN reporter share that story then? Hey, I happen to have firsthand knowledge that Aaron Rodgers has been saying crazy stuff for at least 11 years now. Here's what happened to me at the Kentucky Derby. She did it now. Now at the exact moment that Democratic National Committee sources are telling TMZ, hey, we are going to dump a whole ton of Oppo research on Aaron Rodgers because we don't want to face him, because we think, especially in Wisconsin, he might actually cost us enough votes that would go to Bobby Kennedy Jr. instead of Joe Biden, that we want dirt to come out on him. And what happens that very day, the exact same day, I'm talking, folks, within a matter of hours, a CNN reporter is violating every single standard of journalistic ethics to report on Aaron Rodgers, something that is pretty clearly unverifiable, in an effort to help Joe Biden. When we say that the mainstream media, reporters like Pamela Brown, reporters and anchors like Jake Tapper, and news organizations like CNN are nothing more than the attack arm of the Democratic Party and exist solely to prop up Democrat narratives and to attack threats to the Democrat narrative or Democrat Party candidates, this is what we mean. We name the unhinged liberal of the day next here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard of the Swiss Army knife?
Sure.
Of course. Behold, I present the Swiss Army bed.
That's the Symmetry Bedroom Collection from Penny Mustard.
You can't just give it another name.
But my favorite pocket knife inspired this design.
Well, the Symmetry Bedroom does have everything.
That's what I'm talking about.
A bookcase headboard with built-in lighting.
Deep, full extension drawers for underbed storage.
A gorgeous two-tone stain option.
And mysterious secret compartments to stash the family jewels. angles.
You're right. The Symmetry bedroom is a lot like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, the only thing missing is a corkscrew.
Darn, I knew I forgot something.
The Symmetry bedroom with queen bookcase headboard, underbed storage, 8-drawer dresser, landscape mirror, and 3-drawer nightstand, starting at $65.50 at Penny Mustard.
And see our selection of sophisticated mattresses.
Get a flippable mattress with foam that is matchless.
Showrooms in Milwaukee and Chicago.
PennyMustard.com.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough breathing triangle evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Academic Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at ACCUNET.com.
Welcome back to Ask Hasselus.
What makes Hasselus mattress different?
Aside from employee-free showrooms, free next-day delivery, and prices that are way too low?
Yeah, besides that.
Hasselus Mattress is locally owned and managed by the same family.
So,
your money stays right here. And through Monday, you'll get a $200 credit towards a new Beauty Rest, Sealy Posturepedic, and Serta Perfect Sleeper just for shopping local.
Thanks.
For what?
For being different.
Find a no-hassle, employee-free showroom near you at Hasselus.com.
Jay Weber here. In today's fast-paced world, getting to the bottom of a problem cannot happen fast enough, especially when it involves your physical health. There's no time for pain or weakness. This is where Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin's Ortho ASAP clinics come to the rescue. If you're experiencing any sort of bone, joint, or muscle problem, walk right in and be seen by an orthopedic specialist trained specifically to treat these conditions. Their website is orthowisconsin.com. The Ortho ASAP clinics are located at both the Pewaukee and Brookfield Square locations and are a lower cost, higher quality alternative to the traditional emergency room or urgent care. You'll be sure to be seen by an experienced orthopedic specialist who's surrounded by a staff that is trained to provide you with the best possible care. Also, their Ortho ASAP clinics are housed where they have on-site x-ray, physical therapy, and MRI capabilities to help with your care all right there. You can learn more at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellen Becker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
The winners are in from our 2024 iHeart Podcast Awards, presented by The Hartford, live at South by Southwest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Best Comedy Podcast. This is Important. Best Health and Wellness Podcast. On Purpose with Jay Shetty. Best Sports Podcast. Club Shay Shay. Best Crime Podcast. Crime Junkie. And Podcast of the Year, New Heights.
Congratulations to all the winners we honored.
Hear these 2024 iHeart Podcast Award winners anytime on the free iHeart Radio app.
Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Classical conservatism, contemporary style. Coming up after the top of the hour news, a local TV station holds a meeting this week in order to instill in its reporters the idea that you should not be covering day-to-day crime stories. You need to humanize criminal suspects by not calling them criminals. What should they be called instead? What Milwaukee TV station is this? We have got the inside scoop coming up at 10:06 right here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. Right now, it's time to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany.
Does that make me crazy?
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil.
America is over.
Today's unhinged liberals of the day are part of a disturbing trend in an increasingly woke United States military. The military academy at West Point has decided to remove the duty, honor, country motto from its mission statement. In a letter sent to students and supporters, Superintendent Lieutenant General Steve Gillen said the phrase, which was first added to the mission statement 25 years ago, would be replaced with the words Army values. Army values. Now, you could forgive me if I openly wonder, under Commander-in-Chief Joe Biden, what exactly are those Army values? Gillen wrote in a letter to cadets and supporters this week, our responsibility to produce leaders to fight and win our nation's wars requires us to assess ourselves regularly. Thus, over the past year and a half, working with leaders from across West Point and external stakeholders, we reviewed our vision, mission, and strategy to serve this purpose. As a result of this assessment, we recommended the following mission statement to our senior Army leadership: to build, educate, train, and inspire the Corps of Cadets to be commissioned leaders of character committed to the Army values and ready for a lifetime of service to the Army and nation. The Lieutenant General said the new mission statement, quote, binds the Academy to the Army. He clarified that the patriotic phrase would always remain the school's motto. Duty, honor, country is foundational to the United States Military Academy's culture and will always remain our motto. Well, how come it's been dropped from the mission statement? That interesting. Yet another change away from duty, honor, country, and especially, I fear, country. Army values include what? We've got a whole lot of training about LGBTQIA plus minus ampersand issues. We've got a whole lot of training from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff saying that if then President Donald Trump were to order an attack on China, he would commit treason by giving his Chinese counterpart a heads up that an attack was coming. You'll have to pardon me for openly questioning exactly what, quote, Army values are nowadays. The West Point Military Academy, your unhinged liberals of the day. Seriously, though, if it's still the motto, why remove it from the official mission statement? Why replace it with Army values? I don't understand this change, but perhaps the point. Took a while, but the Recall Voss organizers have finally responded to the multiple, and I mean multiple counts of forgery that have been discovered all over the petition to recall Assembly Speaker Robin Voss. What are they blaming? The answer, I would say might surprise you, but probably won't. All that and more coming up in the 10 o'clock hour on the Dan O'Donnell Show.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN. Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. A man is dead, another injured after a shooting incident turned into a standoff in Sheboygan yesterday. Police there say a 31-year-old contractor was working on a residence when he was shot in the face. When police arrived, they said the 52-year-old man they believed fired the shot was still inside the house and he refused to come out. After several unsuccessful attempts to contact the suspect, police obtained a search warrant to enter the home, but before they tried to enter, they heard a gunshot and later found the suspect dead of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The contractor who was shot is expected to survive. On the campaign trail in Milwaukee yesterday, President Biden announced $36 million in federal funding to rebuild a stretch of 6th Street that connects the city's north and south sides to downtown.
Wider sidewalks for children walking to school, safer bike lanes for residents and visitors, dedicated bus lanes to get to work faster, new trees to provide shade, modern infrastructure to prevent sewage from flowing into the Milwaukee River and the Lake Michigan. These are life-changing improvements.
Biden announced $3.3 billion in spending through the Reconnecting Communities initiative. The White House is calling on the Senate to pass the TikTok bill just approved by the House. The legislation requires TikTok's parent company, Chinese-owned tech giant ByteDance, to sell the app. Lawmakers are concerned the Chinese government can access the personal data of millions of Americans. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, it's the Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers tonight at the Fiserv Forum. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at Built Right Furniture. Built Right's Customer Appreciation Mattress Sale is on now. Shop the most unique selection of mattresses with over 60 models and 500 mattresses in stock. Choose from the best brands made in the USA, including Heirloom, Restonic, Therapeutic, Schiffman, Comfort Sleep, and more. Built Right always saves you money. Don't make a mistake by ordering online or from an employee-free self-service store. Built Right makes it easy, and with their legitimate sale prices, you'll get an exceptional value and a great night's sleep. Built Right does the research for you, and their team will take the time to help fit you. Built Right specializes in hard-to-find, flippable, two-sided, and heavy-duty mattresses that hold up to 600 pounds. Plus, Built Right offers free delivery and removal on mattress-only purchases of $799 or more. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, closed to be with family. Tell them Dan O'Donnell sent you to Built Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Steady light rain developing later this morning, lasting through the midday, into the afternoon, and through the evening. Afternoon temperatures will be steady in the mid-40s, will drop to the mid-30s tonight as the rain comes to an end. Should warm back to 50 tomorrow. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
Grind & Go's crews help hundreds of people finally forget that tree every week. Grind & Go's state-of-the-art online stump calculator allows you to enter the size of your stumps, where they're located, and instantly receive an estimate. GrindandGoStumps.com.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com. Or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
So he said to me, "You're giving me the company line, but why do you think that Marvin Windows and Doors are truly the best?" And I said, "Bob, all I can go by is my family's 50 years of experience. With the reputation we have, we could carry almost any brand. But I need to know that I'm not just selling the company line. So before we chose a lead brand, we examined what was out there, and we chose Marvin." This is David Wilhelm. Marvin Windows and Doors are built around you, and they won't disappoint. And neither will the prices and selection you'll find at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Because we're one of the nation's largest Marvin suppliers. And the products we carry that complement Marvin's lines, like Solar Seal caulk, aluminum trim coil, and window and door touch-up sprays, that even Marvin buys from us, are priced so right, we ship them to Marvin dealers from California to Vermont. So for window and door repair or replacement, your clear choice for more is Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Are you over 30 and putting off life insurance? It's time to get a quick quote from Ethos. A better, easier way to get term life insurance. All online with no medical exam. Answer a few health questions and you could be approved for up to $2 million. Isn't it worth 10 minutes to help protect your family's financial security? Ethos. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com.
Hi, Bob Pucci for the Take Kid Hunting Foundation. We're having the West Bend Gun Show this weekend at the Washington County Fairgrounds on Highway 45 in County PV. Show hours are Friday from 3 p.m. to 8, Saturday 9 to 5, and Sunday 9 to 3. Admission is $8, 14 under are free.
Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, news, talk, and sports radio. Podcasts, too. Download the app. Free never sounded so good.
Show, conservative thought, not just talk. Jam-packed hour coming up. The latest on the increasingly criminal Robin Vos recall campaign. Recall Vos finally responds, and we find, I think, the most surprising signature yet. It is not Mark Belling, no. That would be even worse because he's out of town. He signed he lives in Milwaukee. He lives nowhere near Racine, Burlington, all of that. Dave suggested Mark Belling. No, you're actually going to laugh out loud when you hear this one. It's not a name. Okay, it's not like someone famous. It's not like Mickey Mouse. So, and these people, I think, are misinterpreting or misunderstanding how if you sign Mickey Mouse, or if you sign, say, John Smith and makeup and address, those signatures are simply, tossed, right, as part of a normal investigation. When you are taking the names of real people, forging their signatures, and then passing that off as their actual signature, it is identity theft. It is forgery, which is also a crime here in Wisconsin, and it does amount to election fraud. I mean, this appears to have been a clear and concerted effort to defraud the Wisconsin Elections Commission, to defraud the people of this 63rd Assembly District, and it doesn't matter whether or not this recall is successful, if it actually results in a recall election, as it appears that it will not. So we'll have that story for you coming up later in the 10 o'clock hour. But first, if you'd like to join us, adventnews.com talk and text line 414-799-1130. 1-800-838-9476 is our toll-free talk and text line. DOD at iHeartMedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, where you can watch the show streaming live. And we do love all of you viewers on X. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new viewers on the free speech platform just in the last couple of weeks. We do welcome you to Dan Nation. No, not damnation. You will get eternal damnation, which is enlightenment, conservative thought, not just talk, by listening and watching The Dan O'Donnell Show. Also, youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. We really want to get the viewership up there as well. So please do subscribe to the show, like each broadcast, share it with your friends, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. No, we've got a great comment from, this is a tremendous name on YouTube, the Kitchen Table Polemicist. That is fantastic. Well done, good sir. He says, let me guess, Robin Voss signed the Robin Voss recall. No, that would be fantastic. But unfortunately, it is not Robin Voss. It's actually somebody who I can't name. And when we get into this story, you will see why. Let's just say it wouldn't be someone who would be eligible to vote. How about that? No, it's not Greta Thunberg. I told you, it is not someone famous. You know, infamous, not someone infamous, not someone famous. But that would be an example. If Greta Thunberg, her address is listed as the United Nations building or something like that, Joseph Robinette Biden signed the Voss recall. That's a name that's just struck. It's obviously fake. It becomes a different thing altogether when you are passing these off as real people. It is interesting, isn't it, that we have had barely a single story on all of the fraud that we here at the Dan O'Donnell Show and Wisconsin Right Now have uncovered. It seems like nobody in local media, not the Milwaukee Journal, not any of the local TV stations, not any of the state TV stations, Madison, Green Bay, anybody seems to really care much about this. I wonder why. Could it be because there is widespread ideological bias? Could it be that the focus of what is and isn't news is shifting before our very eyes? I have obtained a memo that went out to all news staffers at today's TMJ4, owned by the EW Scripps Company. I think it's been sold so many times. Of course it was at one point to Journal Broadcast Group station. And before I continue, in the interest of full disclosure, I began my career at 620 WTMJ, which at the same time was owned by the same company and in the same building as today's TMJ4. One summer, I worked as a writer for the TMJ4 Morning News, and I often sat in my duty at 620 WTMJ with the afternoon and morning editorial meetings where reporters were given assignments. It was discussed what news stories were going to be covered. So I do have some knowledge of the inner workings of today's TMJ4. I know a lot of the people who have, most of them have since retired, i.e. Carol Meekins, Mike Jacobs, etc., or moved on to other TV stations. But a lot of the people that, were there, I do know a lot of the people here. So I am disclosing right away the potential conflict of interest. I have obtained a memo entitled Crime Coverage Summits 2024, Philadelphia and New Orleans, that news managers handed out at a meeting on Tuesday, in which they discussed, in apparently no uncertain terms, that the way TMJ4 was going to be reporting on crime stories was going to change dramatically. There were several bullet points on this memo, and I am going to put this up on Common Sense Central and on my social media. First bullet point was people first language and humanizing people. Example, instead of suspect, consider using a man who is suspected. Put the person first in your wording. What humanizing details or language can you include when writing? In other words, this is an attempt to humanize the suspect. What does that mean? Well, the very next bullet point is called including context. Going beyond the crime, what are systemic causes of the incident? Are there solutions? Looking deeper into that community. Are there community groups working to combat this issue? Is there someone in the neighborhood who can provide insight instead of an official? I guess this means more man on the street interviews because heaven knows local reporting doesn't have enough of those. What this context very clearly means is a shift away from the focus on here is the suspect, here is his mugshot, he shot 3 people during an armed robbery, and police are still looking for the suspect. Instead, the focus will be systemic causes of robberies. Could this man just have been so? We need to humanize him. He is not a suspect. He is a man suspected of shooting 3 people in a robbery. Were economic conditions in his neighborhood, probably because of systemic racism, such that he had no choice but to shoot 3 people during a robbery? Third bullet point. Following up on crime. Go beyond the day of follow-up story. Can we go back to the community and talk to people a week later, a month later? How has the neighborhood reacted or responded considering the crime that took place? Reconsider the merit of episodic reporting. By episodic, I'm talking 5 VOs, i.e. voiceovers, in a row saying, this shooting happened here, so-and-so is hurt, police are looking for suspects. Does inundating viewers with every crime on the scanner benefit them or the community, or are we just using it to fill time in our rundowns? What solutions-based reporting can we offer? If we're running a VO on crime in a neighborhood, let's at the very least provide that context we were talking about earlier. That context, remember, is the systemic causes of crime. Poverty, systemic racism, anything that might shift blame away from the suspect. I suspect these systemic causes aren't going to include the fact that pretty much every criminal suspect, or every person suspected of a crime is let out on dangerously low or absolutely no bail, and that criminal sentences are almost non-existent, such that people are getting probation, extended supervision, all of this, they're not going away to prison, and instead they're on the streets where they're committing more and more serious crimes. Building better relationships with law enforcement is the next bullet point. Sometimes it requires us to reset with PIOs, public information officers. Consider going beyond emails and phone calls. Introduce yourself in person so they can put a face to the name. This is something of an acknowledgement that there has been an openly hostile relationship between reporters, news editors, and the like, and Milwaukee police officers, PIOs especially. Contacts make sources. Get numbers and addresses for people you talk to, even MOS, men on the street. Try to check in and build those relationships so you have connections in neighborhoods when things happen in the future. This actually is the one bit of very, very good advice here. If you're a young reporter, the best thing I can tell you is A, talk to everybody. B, try to get in good with everybody. People that you wouldn't even expect, right? Somebody always knows something. Somebody always potentially could be a source for a story. Someone can always give you information that could, if not break a story, but lead you to somebody else or lead you to some bit of information that could come to a story. Care for your mental health in the newsroom. Journalists experience repeated trauma on the job daily. It's easy to desensitize and not realize the daily grind can affect the job. It's important to check in with yourself and your fellow reporters. Everyone needs a reset. I am, as a mental health advocate and someone who's very open about his own struggles with anxiety and, the like, I'm not going to make fun of this one because I was 19 years old when I went to my first crime scene and saw a bullet-riddled body of a kid who was probably younger than me. So, yeah, I get it. I'm about as desensitized as it gets now. Heaven help me, watching videos from Haiti of actual human cannibalism. And I'm looking at this saying, could this be AI? Forever the cynic, but even someone as old and jaded as I am can still say, ooh, boy. So yes, that is actually another bit of good advice for reporters. Make sure you're taking care of yourself, because the other thing about reporting, and I will tell you when I was doing news reporting, the hours are long. You work odd hours, especially in TV. Your shift starts at 3 p.m. and ends at about 11 p.m. You're basically working second shift. It's not conducive to sitting down for 3 square meals and getting a good night's sleep. Covering race is the next bullet point. Understand the implicit biases you hold, as well as the people you're speaking to when you write. Covering juveniles. Be aware of language you're using when covering a juvenile's role in a crime. We can often default to calling a 17-year-old boy involved in a shooting a man. What humanizing details can we find out about these kids involved? Can we speak to family members or friends to give us a picture of who we are? In other words, again, we want to create sympathy for the perpetrators of sometimes heinous crimes. We've got a story right now about a kid who was, 10, 11 years old, who murdered his mother in cold blood because she wouldn't buy him a virtual reality headset. That's clearly severe mental illness and, frankly, evil. While I understand, okay, let's get into the psychology of this, what would motivate someone to do this. When we talk about, and this is sort of the naivete of liberalism, that, why did this 17-year-old shoot up a car filled with other 16 and 17-year-olds who were wearing different color shirts from him? Well, okay, it's obviously gang-related. It's obviously a drug-related shooting. We don't need to get into any context beyond that. Now, if you want to get into a broader, if you want to do a documentary like our friend Tommy G over on YouTube about why people are joining gangs, I would sign me up. I'm watching. You want to do TMJ4? You want to do a long-form documentary about gangs in Milwaukee and embed a reporter with gangbangers to try to figure out what exactly is going on. That's the sort of reporting that doesn't just win, Pulitzer Prizes and Edward R. Murrow Awards. That's the sort of journalism that actually has an impact. What I suspect, however, is the reason for this is to avoid the appearance that they're doing racist coverage. So I sent an email to Tim Vetcher, who is the news director of today's TMJ4. Hi, Tim. Dan O'Donnell here with News Talk 1130 WISN. I have been made aware of a recent meeting and memo distributed to news staff regarding the crime coverage summits in New Orleans and Philadelphia, in which TMJ4 staff members were instructed to provide humanizing details about criminal suspects, or, as the memo suggests, men who are suspected. Additionally, staffers were encouraged to seek out systemic causes of the incident on which they're reporting and to understand the implicit racial biases they hold when reporting on such stories. Does this indicate a shift in reporting on crime stories at TMJ4 or signal an effort to minimize reporting on such issues, since the memo instructs reporters to reconsider the merit of episodic reporting on crime? The memo suggests that such reporting does not benefit either viewers or the community. Does this mean that TMJ4 believes that reporting on crimes committed in the community somehow harms the community? Is there anything else you believe the public should know about this meeting and memo or TMJ4's perceived new approach to crime reporting? Thank you very much for your prompt response, which I will use in any reporting I do on this matter. Sincerely, Dan O'Donnell. I have not yet received a response, but hopefully I will get one. And of course, I will share it with you either later on this show or this afternoon on the Mark Belling Late Afternoon Show. We will discuss this. Get your reactions as well. An exclusive story here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
Sendix is offering seafood prices that haven't been seen in years. Don't miss deals like Sendix Premium Wild-Caught Halibut Fillets for just $9.99 a pound. 4-ounce steaks of Sendix Wild-Caught Premium Ahi Tuna are just $5.99 each. And backed by popular demand, Jumbo Canadian Walleye Fillets are just $7.99 a pound. And treat yourself to Sendix Large Golden King Crab Legs for just $17.99 a pound. Get your order in on these and other amazing seafood deals now at Sendix.com. Sendix, your trusted local grocer.
Every employer wants employees who are motivated. Thinkability Wisconsin wants you to know that employees with disabilities are people who truly want to work.
They just want to be a part of a team and be a part of something and have that sense of belonging.
They want to work so much, and they just are happy to come to work.
You will find someone who will be a good fit for your organization.
Start with yes, and let Thinkability Wisconsin help you hire people with disabilities. Good for your business and for the community. Learn more at thinkabilitywi.org.
In this week's Marketers Report, Angela Zapata, CMO Hyundai Motor America, discusses measuring audio.
The measurement capability within audio, I think, surprised all of us. We have seen a huge return on our investment. Seeing real numbers has helped us continue to invest.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the data, audiences, and influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Want to make your yard the envy of the neighborhood? Tune in to Brett Ochtenhagen's Seasonal Services Designer Yard Show to learn landscaping secrets. Visit seasonalservices.com and listen on News Talk 1130 WISN, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
If you're someone who is experiencing shoulder, hip, or knee pain and a total joint replacement may be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. Find them at orthowisconsin.com.
If we've learned anything from the headlines, it's that unexpected things happen too often. Those in charge say everything's fine. Stop noticing. But you know better, and your gut knows that time is short to prepare for what's around the corner next. My Patriot Supply has helped over 2 million families become more self-reliant and is the company Americans trust to prepare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. For a limited time, save $200 plus get free shipping on all their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kits. You're not ready if it's not Ready Hour foods. At My Patriot Supply, you can also get solar-powered generators, water filtration units, emergency medical supplies, and heirloom seeds. Shop MyPatriotSupply.com today. MyPatriotSupply.com.
To answer your question, yes, I will be providing a copy of that memo in the online version of the reporting I'm doing on this. I hope to include a response from Tim Vetcher, who is the news director at today's TMJ4. For those who missed our opening monologue this hour, I have obtained a memo and have been made aware of a news reporting staff meeting on Tuesday involving all news reporters, anchors, producers, people who man the assignment desk, anyone who's involved in the production of the news product. in which they were instructed basically to change the way they report on all crime issues using people first language. Don't call a suspect a suspect. Consider using a man who is suspected. Humanize, especially with child suspects. What humanizing details can we find out about these kids involved? Can we speak to family or friends to give us a picture of who they are? Has there ever been a mother of a gangbanger who hasn't said he's a good boy and was going to go to college? He was turning his life around? What sort of context? The focus is clearly to de-emphasize crime in an effort to make it seem as though we don't have a crime problem. Additionally, to try to place the emphasis on the quote-unquote societal or systemic causes. Now, in the liberal lexicon, what word usually follows systemic? Racism, right? We're going to focus on how societal issues, poverty, racism, lead people to commit crimes of necessity, like shooting up a club because you have beef with somebody else. What's the systemic cause of that? Can please somebody explain to me? Would that be the easy access to guns? Look, I have no issue with getting an understanding into criminal psychology, getting an understanding of how leniency toward criminals, the decriminalization of crime, this sort of wide-ranging, long-standing policy of the Milwaukee County criminal justice system and of criminal justice systems across the country has led to dramatic increases in the recidivism rate. Sure. But if you're talking to some 23-year-old reporter, hey, let's talk to some community activist who's going to say, well, it's all about racism. In fact, we have a story all about that, if you can believe that, from today's TMJ4 that deals with this very thing. And I realize we've got to get to some more breaking stories about the Voss recall here. Producer Dave, hold on, let me get this story. This was from Monday. Reporter by the name of Rebecca Klopf, did a story about the roads in Milwaukee being racist. This, of course, was timed to President Biden's visit. Milwaukee County put out a dashboard so you could look at demographic data of people involved in traffic crashes. And, of course, TMJ4 looks at the systemic causes of traffic crashes and says, well, it's systemic racism. Racism is the response. The roads themselves are racism. TMJ4 faced a viewer revolt. They were inundated with calls, with emails, social media posts, comments on the story when it went up on Twitter, X and Facebook. And people were saying, what are you talking about? The roads are racist. This is the most asinine thing I've ever seen. But this is the sort of context-based reporting that I think this memo is talking about. Rebecca Klopf was forced to do a follow-up story the very next day on Tuesday, same day as this meeting took place, incidentally, where she said, okay, a lot of viewers had questions. How did we come to the conclusion that because there is a disparate impact on black residents of Milwaukee on traffic crashes, how did we come to the asinine conclusion that racism was the cause? Klopf interviews an expert who says, here's why the roads are racist.
In most communities with lower income people, that roadway is being designed for the benefit of people coming from outside the community, going through your community to another community. So you'll often find a black neighborhood that is in the way of white suburbanites trying to get to a job center. It doesn't matter if it's intended to create danger. If a design and approach consistently creates a danger that impacts one group over another, and you keep doing it in a one-size-fits-all approach, like a checklist, then that is a racist behavior.
That's Beth Osborne, Transportation for America head, a national campaign for transportation reform, part of Smart Growth for America, saying the roads were designed to allow white people to race through black neighborhoods to go to and from their jobs. I reported on that yesterday on the Mark Belling Late Afternoon Show and dared anyone to find me a single example of a crash in Milwaukee, a deadly crash, an injury crash, of a white suburbanite racing to get to work or racing through a black neighborhood to get home. Unsurprisingly, I actually looked for a good 15, 20 minutes. Just, has there ever been an example, say, in the last decade of this happening? I couldn't find one. But this is exactly what I think this memo is instructing. Talk to people like this who will say, well, the systemic cause. And the most hilarious part about this story was immediately after Rebecca Clough plays this soundbite of Beth Osborne saying, yes, it's because the roads are racist. She immediately cuts to a guy who she used to intro the story, whose house had been hit 17 times, or there were 17 different car crashes on his property at 76th and Stark. So you got Beth Osborne saying it's because the roads are racist. And then they immediately go to this guy who's actually been the victim of car crashes 17 times. Here's what he says.
I don't think it's a black-white thing at all. I think that it's a problem for the total city.
So you've got one of the victims of this systemic problem saying, no, it's not a racial issue. Yet you've got the tone of the story, a story that you actually ran because you had to defend your first story, in which you said essentially without evidence that racism is the reason that there is such a disparate impact on black communities of traffic fatalities and traffic crashes. It's exactly what this memo is talking about. I don't think it's a coincidence that these stories air on the same day there's a big all-staff meeting instructing reporters, hey, you need to blame racism and systemic inequity on, you need to blame that for the dramatic increase in crime and traffic fatalities and such. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, conservative thought. Not just talk. Hiya, Dan here for my amazing friends at Built-Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattresses. It's Built-Right's Customer Appreciation Sales Event on now. Shop where the O'Donnell family shops. Now more than ever, it is the time to support Built-Right, a locally and family-owned business for 4 generations and 96 years strong, with the best selection and team in town. March marks their 18th anniversary in their Greenfield location. Built-Right's 45,000 square foot showroom has thousands of items in stock, plus 500 mattresses. Special and custom orders are faster in 2024. You'll get the lowest price on popular brands like Smith Brothers, Elran, Temple, Heirloom, Restonic, and Therapeutic. Built-Right's one location always saves you money. Voted best place to shop and winner of the Home Furnishings Association Retailer of the Year. Shop Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, they're closed to be with family. Tell them Dan sent you to Built-Right at 54th and Layton in Greenfield.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. Dave Spano, President and CEO of Annex, joins me. And this week, Dave, is possibly another up week on the market. If it is, it would be the 17th of the last 20. 16 of the last 19 weeks have seen increases on the stock market. That is amazing.
Yeah, it really is. The S&P up, as you said, 16 of the last 19. But that might suggest that there might be a reversion to the mean, right? Because trees don't grow to the sky. But you look at really how this is happening, and it really started when the Federal Reserve became more dovish late last year. Folks will remember that the S&P 500 was all the way down to 4,100 in October of 2023, and here we are over 5,000. So it's been a really nice rally. But Dan, you'll be happy to know that in a presidential re-election year, it has been positive every time since 1944. And that's what we're seeing right now, a presidential re-election year where both sides think that their guy can win.
Yeah, it does breed a whole lot of optimism, but remember, we are still seeing signs that there might be trouble ahead.
Yeah, that's right. And we looked at a number of statistics, and the one that jumps out to us the most is the unemployment rate, something the Federal Reserve certainly pays attention to. But it has gone from 3.4 to 3.9%. Still a really good rate, but a change of about 0.5%. That is a sign that we may have some slowing in 2025. So pay attention. Make sure your portfolio is aligned with all the current facts and circumstances.
And that's why you need to know what you own, why you own it. You need, as Dave said, a review of your portfolio. It's called a wealth metric. It is absolutely free, and it's available exclusively at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, I'm Dan O'Donnell. Thanks so much for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Whether it's a complete kitchen or bath remodeling or replacement fixtures, the experts at S&K Remodeling can help you. Their designers have their fingers on the pulse of your dreams. Stop by the S&K Working Showroom and let the remodeling team show you ideas from ordinary to extraordinary. Call 262-782-7185 or visit SNKRemodeling.com.
When it comes to remodeling, one call does it all. SNK Remodeling.
One of the great things about being a sports fan is that you can find something to watch on TV almost every single day. And one of the great things about picking with Prize Picks is that you can find a way to play daily fantasy sports. Hey, I'm Benjamin Yod, and we've been talking about Prize Picks now for a couple of weeks. A lot of the time, we're talking about the NBA. But it's not just the NBA on Prize Picks. They've got pro hockey, college basketball, soccer, even Sunday golf. All you're doing is picking more or less. 2 or more players, more or less, on a variety of stats, and you're off to the races. You can turn $10 into $250 with just a couple of taps. More than 7 million people have signed up for Prize Picks. Why haven't you? Just go to the Prize Picks app, download it, use my code Radio11, and there you go. Pick more, pick less. Prize Picks, it's that easy.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Warshawski's Victor Harding, Best Lawyers Product Liability Attorney of the Year, achieves maximum compensation.
Best Lawyers Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year, Warshawski's Frank Cravello, achieves maximum injury compensation.
Injured?
It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
When you breathe well, you live better. Find out more at adventknows.com.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 original stations waiting for you to explore right now, like 24/7 comedy.
Men don't settle down. We surrender.
Women, we never express the emotions we're actually feeling, right? I'm fine means I'm about to stab you in the neck.
Clips from today's top comedians and the greatest of all time.
Donut hole. If you want a donut, have a donut. Why are you eating the hole?
When you need a laugh, just open the free iHeartRadio app and search comedy.
You can actually change the station.
iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Opinion, emotion, passion. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
The Dropkick Murphys, Cadence to Arms in the Dan O'Donnell Show St. Patrick's Day bumper music rotation. which you can find up on our social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. We have made a Spotify playlist of pretty much all of the bumper songs that we are using all week long in honor of St. Patrick's Day on Sunday. Recall Voss has put out a statement on the incredible failure of its recall effort and addressed very serious allegations that there is a whole lot of election fraud going on with Ford's signatures. Here's the statement in its entirety. At the heart of the Recall Voss campaign lies a steadfast commitment to the principles of election integrity and the secure fabric of our republic. Our efforts to initiate a recall were conducted with utmost respect for legal standards, engaging a broad coalition of community volunteers, professional circulators, and numerous citizens who participated via mail. Despite rigorous verification processes to identify and eliminate fraudulent entries, it has come to our attention that certain petitions may contain signatures that were unlawfully obtained. In light of these allegations, the Recall Voss campaign not only welcomes but supports a thorough investigation into the suspected forgeries. Further demonstrating our dedication to transparency, we are voluntarily presenting over 400 signatures previously withheld over concerns of authenticity rooted in our beliefs that some circulators may have violated their sworn affidavits. It is our firm stance that any individual found falsifying witness to these signatures should be held accountable to the fullest extent permissible by law. We urge a note of caution amidst those proceedings. The process does not mandate circulators to verify the identity of signatories, a loophole that could potentially enable community members to pass off forged signatures to unsuspecting volunteers. The issue is compounded by reports of signatories facing undue pressure from associates of Robin CCP Voss aimed at undermining their support. To those who find themselves targeted by such tactics, we stand with you. We urge you to hold fast to your convictions, refusing to be swayed by the intimidation efforts of Voss and his cronies. The essence of our republic is the collective voice of its citizens. We shall not waver in the face of attempts to silence the dedicated residents of Racine County by Robin CCP Voss and Megan Wolf. Our resolve is stronger than ever, asserts Matt Snorek, lead petitioner of the Recall Voss initiative. So Voss and his associates were pressuring people to sign the recall so they could then turn around and say, look, there are fraudulent signatures on the recall. Is that the allegation here? And these were just rogue circulators who were making up names? I have been able to confirm, and just by the nature of who this alleged signatory is, I am going to have to be very vague. But I can confirm a toddler in Burlington signed the recall. A toddler, as in someone who does not yet know how to write. I'm sure you can imagine I will not be naming this child for very, very, very obvious reasons. And I have to be vague about where the child lives. I can't give you an address. I can't give you an approximate location. And I will say, this isn't, Dan O'Donnell's making this up. No, I have been able to verify this information. And I am doing this to protect the identity of the child and the child's family, because this is about the most obvious proof that what recall circulators were doing was simply going down neighborhoods, looking at addresses, seeing who lived there. You can use, whitepages.com will do it. One that I've used before, True People Search, those types of sites will find who lives at the address. And all you do, if you're a circulator, in fact, WisconsinRightNow.com, which has just done incredible work exposing the fraud committed by the Recall Voss campaign. found that there was an entire page. Actually, we were the ones here at the Dan O'Donnell Show that first put out this page. And as soon as we did, people started noticing, hey, it looks like the same person filled out the entire page. Sure enough, after that page got out there, I posted the page with the alleged signatures of Russ and Susan Hine. Russ, by the way, people have asked, is he running for alderman? Yes, I believe he is running unopposed for alderman in, I think it was Burlington. But yeah, that was, and he said, look, he came on the show live and said, I didn't sign this. This isn't my signature. It isn't my wife's signature. We're listed as living at two separate addresses. There was also a Leon Mish who was listed on that same page in remarkably similar handwriting to the Hines. His name was misspelled as Leon Mitch, M-I-T-C-H. It's actually M-I-C-H. And the circulator just happens to be a criminal from Florida with a long rap sheet. Now, recall Voss was paying circulators per signature, which would incentivize this sort of fraudulent behavior, would it not? What was the incentive for this perp, guy by the name of Carlo Green? What was the incentive for him to actually go out and collect signatures? If he could just sit there with his phone and say, okay, someone lives here, I'm going to just kind of change the signature a little bit. You see how this is a very serious problem. I, by the way, would very much like to see some of the signatures that were so obviously forged that even the Recall Voss people didn't try to submit them. One would wonder, if it found 400, why did it submit so many others? And the Racine County District Attorney's Office, as we reported a couple of days ago, has now confirmed it's launched a criminal investigation into this. Anyone with information urged to contact them. You can find the phone number for the Racine County DA's office on my social media at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
My new exercise bike. More like my $1,500 coat rack.
I got a guitar. Never even learned Smoke on the Water.
At Babbel, we get it. Learning something new is hard, especially a new language.
I've forgotten all my high school French.
My Spanish starts at hola and ends at adios.
Make it easy on yourself. Get Babbel, the language learning app built by 200+ language experts to teach you real-world conversations for any situation. With research-proven lessons, addictive games, immersive podcasts, and live online classes with real teachers.
Sounds like fun.
It's fun and fast. Babbel's bite-sized lessons take 10 minutes a day. You can start having real conversations in as little as 3 weeks.
3 weeks? Hola, Espanol.
Ready to learn a new language? It starts here. Now try Babbel free when you text radio to 64,000. To try Babbel free, text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000.
In this seller's market, even homeowners are trying to sell their own home. But more times than not, it doesn't work out like they'd hoped. And while homes like theirs are selling, and selling fast for over asking prices, their homes aren't. So what's your next best strategy? Well, if you're looking to relieve yourself of the stress of selling your own home and still get top dollar while getting the full service benefits that an experienced realtor can give you, then look no further. I'm Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where 3.5 to 3.9% commission assures that you pay less for full service.
Skip waiting for a table. Enjoy a homemade fish fry every Friday at Sendik's. Enjoy 3 pieces of beer-battered, wild-caught Northern Atlantic cod with your choice of Sendik's original potato pancakes or French fries. Your meal comes with all the fixins: fresh rye bread, creamy coleslaw, homemade applesauce, and Sendik's tartar sauce. Or choose from fried shrimp, walleye fillets, or baked cod. Every Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at your neighborhood Sendik's. Sendik's Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Their U.S.-based restoration specialists are dedicated to helping solve identity theft issues, and all plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which means if you lose money because of identity theft, LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan. Help protect your information with LifeLock. Go to LifeLock.com and save up to 25% your first year with my name, Clay, as your promo code.
In this week's Marketers Report, Dana Nussbaum, Executive Vice President, Worldwide Marketing at Warner Brothers Discovery, weighs in on regional audio marketing.
Although we're marketing at a very broad scale, it does include specific local markets, and that's the beauty of iHeart's network.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
So when you have a hot housing market, why would you pay 6%? I understand. Some of you might have challenging properties, houses in need of major repair, perhaps even a lot or location that just isn't all that great. Maybe you do need to pay 6%. This is Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. Our 3.99% commission plan is perfect for every house ranging from pretty much normal to absolutely stunning. Visit redefinedrealty.com and save thousands on your next sale. Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Correction on the story we reported last segment. It wasn't Russ Hine. Philip Hine. Philip Hine. He is running for alderman in Burlington. I apologize. Phil seems like a very, very nice guy. He and his wife, Susan, were listed at 2 separate addresses. There must also be a Russ Hine who I know because for some reason that name has stuck in my head. Philip Hine. Bad news for the Milwaukee Brewers. All-star closer Devin Williams is going to miss 3 months at least. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting last night that Williams was diagnosed with 2 stress fractures in his back during a trip to see a spine specialist in California. Now, he pitched through back pain last September. You might remember that it was a valiant effort. He won National League Reliever of the Year for the 2nd time, but those back issues flared up again. He saw Dr. Robert Watkins diagnosed with the stress fractures. This from JSOnline.com. Brewers manager Pat Murphy told reporters Sunday that Williams was experiencing back soreness, but imaging done by the team did not indicate reason for concern. Williams' status at the time for opening day was said to be uncertain, but the belief was with rest he could make a quick recovery. According to Williams, who was reached via text Wednesday, that was not a lie or mischaracterization by Murphy, but there was a difference in diagnosis between what Williams first heard and what Watkins, an independent doctor, saw. Williams was told by team doctors there was no major injury, but with the discomfort Williams was in, he sought a second opinion. Watkins saw the imaging initially and informed him the following morning it was likely a stress fracture, but needed the right-hander to see him in California to confirm. What Watkins, a leading spine specialist, saw Wednesday when Williams came in was a pair of stress fractures. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little concerned about the Brewers team medical staff missing that and say, yeah, he's fine. He might be missing a week or two, but he'll be ready by opening day. I don't believe for a second, by the way, that this is a case of the team doctor saying, well, take some pain pills, you'll be fine. No, I think they just missed it. This happens in the medical field. I don't pretend to be an expert or even know what the hell I'm talking about, but this is why you get second opinions. I mean, I'm someone as a patient who has gotten second opinions before. It's a little. I was a little unnerved when I first read that story last night, saying, I hope they don't miss anything else, but that is a big blow to a Brewers team that was, after the loss of Corbin Burns, going to be increasingly dependent upon its bullpen. Still a little nervous about this upcoming season. We'll discuss that and much more. I'll be filling in for Mark Belling this afternoon. You've been listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.